The studio lights blazed down on the set of the popular daytime talk show, where Joy Behar sat poised behind her desk, her signature sharp wit ready to slice through the air. Tom Cruise, the Hollywood icon known for his intense charisma and blockbuster roles, entered the stage with a confident stride, waving to the cheering audience. As he settled into the guest chair, the conversation started innocently enough, touching on his latest film project and the demands of stardom. But Joy, ever the provocateur, couldn't resist delving into personal territory. She leaned forward, her eyes narrowing playfully yet pointedly, and quipped about the rumors surrounding Tom's involvement with Scientology, questioning its influence on his life choices. Tom smiled politely at first, deflecting with humor about how faith shapes everyone differently. However, Joy pressed on, her tone shifting to one of skepticism, mocking the church's practices in a way that drew laughs from the crowd but visibly tensed Tom's jaw. He interrupted her mid-sentence, his voice steady but firm. "Joy, I've always respected your show and your opinions, but let's keep this about the movie." Undeterred, Joy doubled down, citing old interviews and tabloid headlines, painting a picture of controversy that Tom found increasingly invasive. The audience murmured in anticipation, sensing the brewing storm. Tom leaned back, crossing his arms, his famous intensity bubbling to the surface as he prepared to respond. Joy, sensing she had him on the ropes, threw in a jab about celebrity egos and how they sometimes blind people to reality. That's when Tom's demeanor shifted entirely. His eyes locked onto hers with laser focus, and he said, "You know, Joy, I've faced critics my whole career, but this feels personal." The exchange escalated as Joy fired back with a sarcastic remark about Hollywood's bubble, implying Tom's world was detached from everyday struggles. Tom countered by sharing a vulnerable story from his early days, trying to humanize himself, but Joy interrupted again, twisting his words into fodder for more mockery. The tension thickened like fog on the set, with co-hosts exchanging uneasy glances. Finally, as Joy crossed into commenting on his family life, Tom's patience snapped. He stood up abruptly, pointing a finger at her, and declared in a voice that echoed through the studio, "You just crossed the line." The audience gasped collectively, the moment freezing time as cameras captured every nuance of the confrontation. Joy's face registered shock, her usual composure cracking under the weight of Tom's unfiltered ire. He continued, pacing slightly, explaining how her words disrespected not just him but countless others who hold their beliefs sacred. The live broadcast crackled with raw energy, viewers at home glued to their screens as this unexpected showdown unfolded. Tom, drawing from his action hero persona, articulated his defense with passion, turning the tables on Joy by questioning her own biases and media. She attempted to regain control, laughing it off as spirited debate, but Tom's resolve held firm, demanding respect in a way that commanded the room. The segment stretched longer than planned, with producers scrambling in the background, but the authenticity of the moment kept everyone riveted. As the verbal sparring intensified, Tom dismantled Joy's arguments point by point, his eloquence shining through the heat. Joy, a veteran of tough interviews, pushed back with facts and figures, but Tom's personal anecdotes carried emotional weight that resonated deeply. The audience applauded sporadically, divided in their loyalties, adding to the chaotic atmosphere. Eventually, a commercial break loomed, but not before Tom delivered a mic-drop line about integrity in journalism, leaving Joy momentarily speechless. This was no scripted drama, it was real, unfiltered Hollywood clashing with daytime TV royalty, and the world was watching. Resuming after the break, the energy in the studio remained electric, with Tom Cruise still standing, his stance unyielding as he faced Joy Behar across the desk. Joy, regaining her footing, attempted to steer the conversation back to lighter topics, but Tom wasn't having it. He sat down slowly, his eyes never leaving hers, and dove deeper into why her comments stung so profoundly. He spoke of the media's role in perpetuating stereotypes and how it affects real people beyond the headlines. Joy nodded occasionally, but her retorts came swift, defending her right to question public figures. The debate morphed into a philosophical clash on privacy versus public interest, with Tom arguing that celebrities deserve boundaries, especially on sensitive matters like religion. Joy countered with examples of accountability in the spotlight, citing historical figures who faced similar scrutiny. The co-host chimed in sporadically, trying to mediate, but the spotlight stayed on the two powerhouses. Tom's voice rose in passion, recounting instances where misinformation led to harm, his hands gesturing emphatically to drive points home. Joy, unflinching, matched his intensity, her New York accent cutting through with pointed questions that probed deeper. The audience leaned forward, some cheering for Tom, others for Joy, creating a symphony of reactions that amplified the drama. As minutes ticked by, Tom revealed a side rarely seen, a vulnerable yet fierce, sharing how such attacks affect his mental health and family. Joy softened slightly, acknowledging the human element, but quickly pivoted to broader societal issues, like the influence of powerful organizations. Tom fired back, accusing her of sensationalism for ratings, which elicited a sharp denial from Joy. The back and forth resembled a high-stakes tennis match, each volley more intense than the last. Suddenly, Tom invoked his famous roles, drawing parallels to characters who fought for truth, making the moment meta and captivating. Joy laughed genuinely at one point, breaking the tension briefly, but soon resumed her grilling. The producers signaled for wrap-up, but the duo ignored it, lost in the verbal battlefield. Tom emphasized mutual respect, urging Joy to consider the impact of her words, while she stood her ground on free speech. The exchange highlighted generational and cultural divides, with Tom representing Hollywood's guarded elite and Joy the unapologetic voice of the people. As the segment dragged on, social media buzzed with clips going viral, fans dissecting every word. Tom concluded his rebuttal with a call for empathy, his tone softening just enough to invite dialogue rather than combat. Joy, ever the pro, extended an olive branch, suggesting they agree to disagree, but not before slipping in one last zinger about action stars and real-life heroes. The audience erupted in applause, the confrontation leaving an indelible mark on the show's history. This wasn't just entertainment, it was a raw glimpse into the clash of worlds, where egos and ideals collided. Live on air, the aftermath promised endless discussions, with pundits analyzing who won the exchange. Tom exited the stage with dignity, shaking hands politely, but the fire in his eyes lingered. Joy, behind her desk, smiled for the cameras, but the encounter had clearly rattled her usual unflappability. Viewers tuned in for celebrity chit-chat but got a masterclass in confrontation, forever etching this moment in pop culture lore. Days after the explosive encounter, the clip of Tom Cruise telling Joy Behar "You just crossed the line" dominated headlines, sparking debates across networks and online forums. Back on the set, in a follow-up segment, Joy addressed the fallout, her tone a mix of defiance and reflection. She replayed the moment, analyzing it with her co-hosts, who offered varied perspectives, some siding with her journalistic zeal, others empathizing with Tom's boundaries. Tom, meanwhile, issued a statement via his publicist, reiterating his stance on respect without apology. The video script expanded as analysts dissected body language, Tom's clenched fists, Joy's raised eyebrows, the audience's hushed silences. Social media exploded with memes, from Tom's intense stare captioned "Mission Impossible," a debate edition, to Joy's quips remixed into viral sound bites. Fans rallied behind Tom, praising his defense of personal beliefs, while Joy's supporters lauded her for holding power accountable. The incident became a case study in media ethics classes, highlighting the fine line between inquiry and intrusion. In interviews, Tom elaborated on the emotional toll, revealing how such public grillings affect his well-being, humanizing the star beyond his action hero facade. Joy, on her podcast, doubled down, arguing that tough questions are essential in a democratic society. The script unfolded further as celebrities weighed in. Some, like Oprah, called for civility, while others, like Howard Stern, cheered the drama. Late-night hosts parodied the scene, with impersonators capturing Tom's intensity and Joy's sarcasm to hilarious effect. The original video amassed millions of views on YouTube, with comment sections becoming battlegrounds of opinions. Analysts noted how this boosted ratings for the show, turning controversy into gold. Tom used the momentum to promote awareness about mental health in the industry, turning a negative into advocacy. Joy, undeterred, invited more controversial guests, proving her resilience. The narrative woven historical parallels, like past celebrity meltdowns on talk shows, positioning this as a modern classic. Behind the scenes, rumors swirled of off-air apologies or tensions, adding layers to the story. The script delved into psychological angles, Tom's Scientology background fueling his passion, Joy's comedy roots sharpening her edge. Viewers rewatched for nuances and the micro-expressions, the pauses pregnant with meaning. As weeks passed, the fervor cooled, but the phrase "you just crossed the line" entered the lexicon, used in everyday arguments. Tom returned to filming, his focus unbroken, while Joy continued hosting with her trademark bite. The event underscored the power of live TV, where unpredictability reigns supreme. In retrospectives, it was hailed as authentic television, free from scripts, raw and real. The video script concluded with lessons learned: boundaries matter, but so does discourse. This confrontation, born from a simple interview, evolved into a cultural touchstone, reminding all of the humanity behind the headlines. Echoes of the exchange lingered in pop culture, inspiring skits, articles, and even merchandise. Tom and Joy, unlikely adversaries, represented broader societal tensions, making their clash timeless. Reflecting on their build-up to the fateful line, the script rewinds to the moments before Tom Cruise's outburst. Joy Behar, known for her no-holds-barred style, had prepared questions that skirted the edge of controversy, aiming to elicit genuine reactions. Tom arrived with his entourage, exuding the calm of a seasoned pro, but insiders noted a wariness in his eyes. As the show went live, initial banter flowed smoothly, laughs about stunts, nods to co-stars. But Joy's pivot to personal faith caught him off guard, her words laced with insinuation. Tom's responses grew clipped, his smile fading as probes deepened. The audience, sensing discomfort, shifted uneasily. Joy, feeding off the energy, amplified her critique, perhaps underestimating Tom's threshold. Co-hosts interjected lightly, but the dynamic duo dominated. Tom's internal monologue, imagined in the script, raced with thoughts of past invasions of privacy. When Joy touched on family, it ignited the fuse. His declaration boomed, silencing the studio momentarily. Joy's recovery was swift, masking surprise with humor, but the power shift was palpable. Post-outburst, Tom elaborated eloquently, dissecting media bias with surgical precision. Joy parried with defenses of press freedom, her experience shining. The exchange highlighted contrasting worldviews, Tom's protective bubble versus Joy's piercing lens. Viewers at home felt the intensity through screens, hearts racing with each verbal thrust. The script explores aftermath emotions, Tom's adrenaline rush, Joy's strategic recalibration. Clips circulated globally, translated into multiple languages, amplifying reach. Pundits debated ethics. Was Joy too aggressive, or Tom too sensitive? Fan theories abounded, from staged drama to genuine rift. Tom's career trajectory remained unscathed, if not boosted by the publicity. Joy's show saw view spikes, validating bold interviewing. The narrative incorporates expert opinions, psychologists noting confrontation dynamics. In a fictional extension, imagine a rematch interview, tensions simmering anew, but reality stuck to separation, each thriving in their realms. The video's legacy, a reminder that lines exist, and crossing them sparks fireworks. Script details micro-moments, sweat on brows, flickering lights, audience whispers. Tom's poise under fire echoed his film roles, blurring art and life. Joy's resilience mirrored her long career, weathering storms. Together, they crafted unintentional theater, captivating millions. As time healed the buzz, reflections turned philosophical, on fame, scrutiny, humanity. The phrase endured, symbolizing boundaries breached. In pop culture annals, this ranks among iconic TV moments, like Oprah's car giveaway or Ellen's surprises, but with edge. Script concludes with hypotheticals. What if cooler heads prevailed? Yet, the heat forged memorability. Tom and Joy, unwitting collaborators in viral history, moved on, but the echo of "you just crossed the line" resonates eternally, expanding the script's scope, Consider the ripple effects beyond the studio. Tom's fans mobilized online, creating petitions for apologies, while Joyce defended her journalistic integrity. Hashtags like #TeamTom and #JoyUnfiltered trended worldwide, polarizing social media. News outlets replayed the clip ad nauseum, with anchors offering biased takes. Late-night comedy skewered both, from SNL skits to Colbert monologues. Tom's public image, often enigmatic, gained relatability through vulnerability. Joy, a fixture in talk TV, reinforced her tough cookie persona. The script weaves in celebrity reactions. George Clooney praising Tom's stand, Whoopi Goldberg backing Joy. Industry insiders whispered of blacklists or alliances formed. Viewership analytics showed spikes, benefiting networks. Psychological deep dives explored ego clashes, power dynamics. In a broader context, it mirrored societal debates on cancel culture, free speech limits. Tom's Scientology affiliation drew renewed scrutiny. Articles dissecting doctrines. Joy's past controversies resurfaced, fueling comparisons. The video evolved into educational content, used in communication courses. Fan edits remixed the confrontation with movie clips, like Top Gun dogfights symbolizing verbal battles. Merchandise emerged, t-shirts with a quote, mugs mocking the moment. Tom's next film promo leaned into the buzz, trailers hinting at intense dialogues. Joy's book sales surged, her memoir chapters on celebrity encounters highlighted. The script imagines alternate endings, reconciliation hugs or escalated feuds. Reality favored distance, mutual respect from afar. Cultural impact lingered, inspiring podcasts dissecting the exchange. Linguists noted phrase adoption in everyday language. Tom's workout routines post-incident symbolized resilience training. Joy's on-air quips grew sharper, lessons learned. The narrative ties into Hollywood's evolution, from guarded stars to social media openness. Viewers reflected on their own boundaries, applying lessons personally. As anniversaries approached, retrospectives aired, reuniting analysts. The original video, archived online, garnered perpetual views. Script emphasizes authenticity's value in scripted eras. Tom's charisma, Joy's candor, a perfect storm. In hindsight, the confrontation enriched discourse, challenging assumptions. Echoes influenced future interviews, hosts treading carefully. Tom's legacy added depth, beyond blockbusters. Joy cemented as unflinching. Together, they epitomized entertainment's unpredictable heart. The script closes on optimism, clashes foster growth, understanding. This moment, frozen in time, continues inspiring, provoking, entertaining. Culminating the epic script, envision long-term legacies of the Tom Cruise Joy Behar showdown. Years later, it features in documentaries on TV history, narrated with dramatic flair. Tom's career soared, roles reflecting personal triumphs. Joy retired as a legend, her style emulated by successors. The quote became shorthand for oversteps in debates, politics, relationships. Fan conventions reenacted the scene, actors channeling intensities. Academic papers analyzed rhetoric, persuasion tactics employed. The script revisits emotional cores, Tom's hurt masked as anger, Joy's probe as curiosity. Media evolved, incorporating sensitivity training for hosts. Tom's advocacy expanded, charities benefiting from spotlight. Joy's influence persisted through mentees, bold questioning encouraged. Viral remixes kept the moment alive, evolving with tech. Hypothetical sequels imagined, joint appearances, laughs over past tensions. Reality favored separate paths, mutual nods in industry events. Cultural artifacts preserved, museum exhibits on pop moments. The narrative underscores human frailty amid fame's glare. Viewers, generations later, discover the clip, reacting anew. Script highlights universality, everyone crosses lines, faces consequences.